Hello, now that we are familiar with various tools and functions of TOSCA, let's see how we can use these tools to perform spatial analysis which would help in decision-making process for master planning. In this example, we'll learn how to identify underutilized commercial buildings in Kochi that can be redeveloped to better align with transit-oriented growth principles. This approach helps address redensification and land use changes. For instance, in Kochi, if the government has decided to implement a transit-oriented development policy and according to this policy, commercial buildings to be considered for redensification should be lower than 5 floors and have an area of at least 2,000 square meters. These are just assumptions. Now, to begin this redevelopment potential analysis, we need to identify our area of interest within the transit-oriented development zone, as that would be the easily accessible area by public transport. Let's start by adding the TOD zone layer from the data store. Let's check if the layer is added to layer panel and adjust the color and opacity from here for better visibility. Now, let's draw a polygon within TOD zone where we want to perform the analysis and save this area of interest as a temporary layer. Since we've drawn the polygon, we no longer need the TOD zone layer, so disable it from here. Next, add the building layer of Kochi from the data store. As we saw in the previous video, the layer panel offers two filter options, the attribute filter and the geometry filter. First, we'll use the geometry filter to isolate commercial buildings in our focus area. For this, select from here the layer AOI and click on Add Filter. Now zoom into the focus area and use the attribute filter to isolate commercial buildings. To do this, first check the attributes of the layer by clicking the Get Table button. In the window that appears, we can see that building types is the attribute we need to filter for commercial buildings. Now, close this window and select here building types. Select equal to and type commercial. Click on Apply. Now that only commercial buildings are visible, let's refine the selection further. Not all of these commercial buildings are ideal for redevelopment. Buildings with 5 floors or fewer would be suitable as per the defined criteria. So we will use the attribute filter again. This time, select the number of floor attribute. Choose less than or equal to. Input 5 and click Apply. We can see that several buildings meet the criteria. However, for redevelopment into larger commercial hubs, we need buildings with at least 2,000 square meters area as per the defined criteria. So let's apply the attribute filter once more. Select area. Choose greater than or equal to. Enter 2,000 and click Apply. After applying these filters, we can see that only 2 buildings are identified as suitable for redevelopment in our area of interest. However, if the number of identified buildings is too large, we need to refine our analysis further. A next step in this case could be to assess the proximity of these buildings to public transport hubs by using the buffer tool. You can create a buffer around nearby transport hubs, such as metro stations or bus stops, to ensure that the selected commercial buildings are easily accessible by public transport. By ensuring these buildings are accessible to public transport and evaluating their height and area, this scenario helps city planners make informed decisions about redensification, ultimately supporting higher density, transit-oriented urban development. Thank you for watching.